Look, if you have gold and silver, you can always convert it into whatever the tool of barter is. If you don't, then you have to just accept it. So, like in the beginning, I thought, okay, just based on history, after we do the final reset and we're in a more stable currency, at least for a minute, there will be a component of gold in there. If there isn't a component of gold in the new currency, then they're not done taking all of your wealth yet. I'm just telling you guys, just be aware. But where I thought that I would convert a chunk more into the new currency once that was done, not gonna. I will convert it as I need it because I know 100%, there is not one little doubt in my mind because I read all their garbage, right? That any deposits that you have are going to immediately start losing value. They already got all the purchasing power. Now they're attacking the principal, and then they take us into a new system. Well, I want to go in there strong. I want to be my own central bank because we certainly know central banks have bought more gold than they have since 1967. And what was happening in the 60s? We were shifting the monetary regime. And I mean, there's only so much debt you can take on, whether you're a government, a corporation, or an individual. I mean, at some point, there's going to be a limit to that. So they've been as transparent as thick mud as to what that would be. But what I have gleaned so far are what will justify creating new money are transactions. You want to buy a boat? Okay, there, new money. Oh, great. Okay. And that's what you want to work for? And by the way, as soon as it's deposited into your account, it immediately starts losing principal. Good. Let's change the definition of money. Right. And that's what they've been doing too. From four functions, once we're in CBDCs, to two functions. The four functions are a tool of measure, right? So this is how much I'm going to work for. So a tool of measure, a tool of barter, a short-term store of value to make sure that you're fairly paid for your labor, and a long-term store of value so that no matter when you use that money, you are always being fairly paid for your labor. Well, they eliminated the third one. I can't tell you when because I couldn't find it. They just scrubbed everything. But once they institute the CBDC and your deposit, your paycheck, no other option, it goes right into the bank account that is charging negative rates. You don't even have a short-term store of value, let alone a long-term store of value. Just a tool of barter and a tool of measure. And by the way, if you buy cryptos or if you buy stocks or if you buy gold and silver, remember you're voting with your purse. This is my vote. Okay. But when you're talking about what's coming, because yes, if all you have is the garbage that they give you for your money, then you are at their whim, and therefore community is arguably the most important factor because and hence why I'm planning everything for a community of 40 up there. So we have doctors, we have teachers, we have farmers, we have electricians, we have guys that know how to hunt, and of all these different skill sets, because one person can't do it all. And you can find that community wherever you live. It's not as easy necessarily to walk out your door, but how about walking out your door and making sure you know your neighbors? Everything has been turned into a commodity. I mean, the house that you live in, this is not supposed to be short term. You're not moving every day, right? And it used to be that this is your shelter, right? Where you can make your last stand. I think, my mantra is food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. You can't develop those things if you are thinking short term. especially that community piece, because it's hard for one person to do everything. That's why I have a team around me because, as you pointed out, where am I going to bring the most benefit to the most people? I'm going to do it in, all the work that you're seeing. But Beyond Gold and Silver is really all about that mantra and what you can do at all different levels, no matter where you are, to become as self-sufficient and independent as possible. Because it should be very obvious to everybody now that we are losing more and more and more of our freedoms. If you are dependent on the grid, if you are dependent on the food supply, if you are dependent on the water source, and that goes away like we saw, had a snicker snack of it in March and April of 2020. Is that okay with you? And what can you do so that it doesn't matter? And I think a lot about what if I'm right and what if I'm wrong? And if I can do something that frankly does not matter whether I'm right or wrong, that's the choice I'm going to make. Because to be wrong is way too expensive, in my opinion. Everybody's got to determine that, for themselves. We vote with our purses. That's how we vote. So if you're using AI, that's your vote. And I mean, this is a bit of I'm going to be honest with you, Patrick. This is a little bit of an interesting kind of battle that's going on in my little world right now, because I have this group of, 40 something men that are really into the technology of it. And that's their vote, which means that if that's the vote, then that's what's going to take over. For me, it's not that I don't use technology, but I feel that I have to be very, very selective with it. I don't want AI dictating what my children are learning. And I do go kind of collective on that children. I don't want, they're like, well, yeah, we can just have AI listen to one of your videos and write. I don't want that. I don't want to remove the human element, because at the end of the day, as fun as that might be and as unique as that might be, I also see how much more control, mind control, as well as all other controls